So, as I'm starting, I want to give you all the secret to a good presentation. It is to find the clicker that works. Okay, wrong direction. Okay. So 15 years ago on Reddit, when you wanted to post something, it would always say the key to a good post is good content and a misleading type. The key to a good presentation, therefore, is good content and a deceptive type. Why? Because guess what? I'm going to talk about coding, even though I haven't said that. So why? Well, because I work in an IT company, so there's code involved. So, I mean, as you know, AI is the big thing. It's been the big thing for the past 2-3 years. Everybody's riding this AI wave. And I mean, at AP, we really try and keep up with trends. We try and learn new stuff. And the way we learn new stuff is that we have this PA summit. Basically, we take the program architects, the people with a lot of expertise, and we give them homework. And they do it for a few months, and then they do a presentation. They tell us what they learned. This year, we of course, had this focus on AI, and I was part of one of these teams that was tasked with building this agent application that does these complicated things, because basically our main goal was to test out how these AIs are working, what are their limits, what can we actually do with them in a very technical context. Now, for this purpose, we were tasked with learning things. Out of, I think, the 5 of us, I think I was the only guy that actually worked with the agents up to that point. But I went on vacation, I come back, they were like, hey, we are using LangChain, therapy stream. I'm like, I've never used those before. Let's start learning. So what's LangChain? So it's this framework written in Python that it helps you work with LLMs. It does this entire LLM chaining where you can take these AI and have them talk to each other. So each one will do a different step of some processing, pass it along. And currently it's the #1 framework that's used when experimenting with AI, experimenting with LLMs. As I said, it's written in Python. There's a lot of modules for it. It's very modular by design. You can plug and play a lot of things and really learn a lot about AI. And it's really easy to integrate everywhere. You can use it for any thing that you need to use AI for. And it's got a huge community. It's implemented in different programming languages, and they've got even this upsell, this length where they help you deploy these LLMs to production and give them to people to use. So what are LLMs? They are the models, the large language models that you can communicate to. Basically, they're exposed as chatbots, but you don't really have a lot of use for chatbots. I mean, we've all played around with ChatGPT. It's very useful for a lot of stuff. You can ask it questions, you can use it to think through a problem, but it doesn't do anything. Now, what is an AI that does something? An AI that does something is an agent. How does it do that? You give this agent certain tools. How do you do it? You write code that this agent can use. Basically, you tell it, hey, here's a tool for you. This is how you use it. This is what you can use it for. And you tell this AI, here's a list of the tools you have. If you have some problem, think about using one of these tools to solve it. So that's what these agents are. And they are the hot thing right now for the past year and a half, because they really allow you to let this AI loose into the world. You give it this option to make decisions, to basically do stuff, to have some actions that it can do. And the great thing is that you can actually link up these agents into a kind of network, so that one agent would do part of a task, it would ask another agent, hey, can you do something else? I mean, I've seen people do really complex things using these agent frameworks. There's this Pilot GPT. Basically, it's an entire little software development agency that is exposed via chat. You tell it, build me something, and it's got different agents. One of them is a business analyst. It breaks down what you requested, sends it over to a software architect who this agent like designs the different pieces of code that need to be developed. And it's got these software engineer agents that are going to build that out. It's also got testing agents here. It doesn't work perfectly. I mean, when it runs into an issue, it stops, it asks you, because when it comes to these tools, you can be a tool for the agent. Like if the agent doesn't know what to do, it can ask you like, hey, I'm stuck, I'm stupid, please help me, do something. And you can unblock it and say, hey, continue. So there are, as I said, different things you can do with LLMs. You can augment the LLM. You can like give it, here is something you can do, give an output, but you can also use LLMs for automation. You can give them you can give an agent like, hey, this is your job, figure out how to do it, here are the tools you're going to use. And then it's expected that the agent is going to figure out which tools to use in which context to get the result you are looking for. For example, I mean, a popular example is to just like use Google search, Wikipedia, like to give you an answer to something. So what did we do? What did we want to do? So we wanted to see like these agents, can they figure out how to communicate with an API? What's an API? It's a set of instructions that you can send to a program, and then the program does stuff. And APIs, they're defined using an API, open API spec, a very long document that says, hey, this is everything that I can do. This is how you're going to tell me how to do stuff. It's the specification. It's very rigid. And what we did, we built a AI agent framework that if you drop in this spec into it, it can figure out, which calls to make, to which endpoint to get the result. So we built this event planning tool using this Strapi. It's a CMS that you can click on it and add different fields. And we basically enabled it. So if we tell it, hey, can you create an event in AP Lab? Imer is going to be presenting. Can do all that stuff. It can do that by chaining different API requests without us telling it explicitly to do that, because it's got this open API agent, and that one has got a list of different tools. We created tools that it can use to make requests to a browser, get requests, post requests, etc. It can also do stuff figure out which day it is today. It can ask us things if we get stuck, etc. And it's got this API planner tool. Basically, we ask the agent, hey, if you want to get this result using this API, can you figure out what are you supposed to do? Can you chain these requests? And how it works is it first creates this plan, and then it starts executing it using all of these tools that we have provided it. And in the end, it gives us our result. Now, how do we create these tools? Again, coding. There's going to be a no coding part at the end, but just need to give you guys some context of what a monumental pain this is. And this is actually really, really simple code. I mean, this is the get today's date tool. The LLM has no idea what it is. It doesn't know what today is. It's limited to data from April 2023 that we're talking about the ChatGPT, and it has no objective way of accessing reality. It doesn't know what's real. It doesn't know what's happening. So you need to give it tools to even do very stupid stuff like, hey, figure out what is today's date. So how do we create this tool? Well, we just write a function, we give it a description, and just literally gets today's date and passes it along. And if it has more tools, we just give it a list of the tools it has, and okay, tools, here are descriptions of the tools, human tool, get today's date tool, blah, blah, blah. We used Strapi. I'm just going to skip this because this is an older presentation, and use the Streamlit. It's it's for creating a website in Python. It's very useful library for experimenting with LLMs. And I've got some demo examples here, which I might play if we've got any sound on this, but I don't think we do. But basically how this worked is that, I thought, hey, can you create a new API entity, named IT, give it some necessary properties. Now, what we did, we want to test out like if it wants to, like if the API that we've created is too limited, if it cannot create something new, can it like extend this API? So we created a tool that's basically a script that clicks on the screen and creates these new entities in the API, so it could modify the API it's working on. Now again, this was just some like us playing around with it. Okay. I think this thing actually might work, but it's got no sound, unfortunately. If it's got sound, it's very, very silent. Okay, I mean, it can talk. That's the main thing. But why am I giving you guys this entire like story about what we did? I mean, we learned a lot of lessons. Like we wanted to learn a lot of lessons. That was the entire point of this PA summit and what we did there. And I mean, we ran into a lot of issues with LLMs. I mean, they're really good at getting the creative solutions. But if you're talking about an API, if you're talking about something that you're trying to limit it using a spec, it's not very good at being limited. It will hallucinate. You can like tell it to like reduce the temperature. So the temperature tells it how creative it should get with its solutions. We told it, keep the temperature at 0, don't do anything creative, just follow the specification we gave you, and it would make up stuff that wasn't there because these specifications, they're very long documents. And what commonly happens with these long prompts, the LLM, the middle falls out. So it will like follow the stuff at the start, follow the stuff at the end, but the things that are stuck in the middle kind of forgets them.
Like me reading.
Exactly. So the abstract and the conclusions, only important parts of anything.
That was it.
It's not true for every LLM model.
It isn't, and you are correct there. But I mean, we were just using ChatGPT here because we really didn't want to complicate it. And you are absolutely correct. So yeah, I mean, the reaction of the protocol can cause errors, and it wasn't that easy to align the LLM with the API's requirements. So, I mean, we got into this entire talk about optimizing our prompts, etc. But a longer prompt consumes more tokens, and every time the LLM would do something, we would have to send the entire spec back to it. So we ended up in a situation where the more you tell it, the more tokens you're sending, and it does end up confused. So why am I telling you all this? Well, there were 5 of us, and I mean they're all program architects, and like I have very high opinion of these guys. If you've all watched like I have, please. I mean, you've all watched those like heist movies, like Ocean's 11. You got like a team of people. You got the financier, the driver, the pilot. You've got these 2 guys, and there's always the computer guy. Now, our team, all of us were the computer guy. So there were 5 of us. When you combine it together, there's 100 years of development experience there. It took us 2 months to do this. Why? Well, we weren't working on it full time, of course. This is just something that we had like an hour or 2 a day to work on. But I mean, it took us 2 weeks to figure out what's our topic. How do we implement something that will cover this topic? It took us 4 weeks to get used to Python. Why? Well, I have worked with agents. I haven't used Python in a long time, but the project I was working on, we used semantic kernel, so C# implementations, and the rest of the team, I mean, we all come from like diverse software engineering backgrounds. We've got front-end guys, back-end guys, mobile guys, but most of them like worked in, like didn't really use Python that much. And we got stuck on really stupid things, like setting up the environment. Hey, what is virtual env? It's like the things you get stuck on when you're just starting to learn something new. I mean, these are important things to get stuck on because that's how you learn. But if all you want to do is dip your toes into AI and like, get something up and running, it's very frustrating. And most importantly, you lose time. These things are not that complicated, but just getting used to the development environment, it really slows you down, and you kind of lose steam to work on it. So how could we have done it faster and easier by not coding? So I didn't actually Google this. What happens is when a man turns 30, YouTube starts recommending you like how to open up a startup. No code this, no code that. And one day I run into a video of this guy. It was like, the video's got 300 views. So it was very specifically pointed at me. It's about building agent frameworks, like make $1 million. Like, I mean, not like that, but it's David Kearns is the man's name. He's got this like agent studio, like a company, and they build AI agents. But they use no-code tools, specifically N8N. I'm not sure, is this pronounced Nathan? I don't know. I will keep it at that. So we have finished our coding. Now we are going to, let me close these tabs.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Let's go.
Let me just drag this. Actually, I don't need to drag the screen. I can just change how this projector is doing this.
Actually, screen don't work.
Duplicate. Okay. Okay, here we go. So what is N8N? Now, I've mentioned we've used LangChain. N8N is LangChain with a UI. It's a workflow automation tool. Now, it's not just for AI. You can use it. Yeah.
It's WordPress.
Yeah, it's WordPress. Exactly. I mean, when you need a blog, just use WordPress. You don't have to code everything in like some tool or something. Now, this is actually, okay, we leave without saving. Okay, so let me show you guys like what I did today in 20 minutes because I started this presentation yesterday. So how does N8N work? It's literally LangChain with the UI. So it's this really nice workflow automation tool that you can use for like a lot of things. So my biggest issue in my life is making reports. I hate it. There are very few things I would rather do than write reports because I think on average in a month, I spend 3 hours waiting for Jira to open up the damn issues. And then I have to read the summaries, I need to read the comments and everything. And, I only have one life on this green earth, and I'm spending it waiting for Jira to open. So I have decided I will never do that for as long as I live, or at least for this month. Why? Because I have finally found a solution to my problems. Now, of course, I know how to code, and I could have tried coding this, but if you worked with Jira's API, there's a lot of stuff there. Like every API request, it returns so many things. And like just filtering out the data would make me very nervous because again, you run the issue I mentioned when the 5 of us were trying just to set up the environment and get everything working. And I just want to do something to like free up some time and I end up like debugging packages. It's extremely frustrating. So I decided to solve this problem using this N8N. So because amazingly, this thing has got a lot of plugins for Jira. And one of them is called Get All. It basically gets every issue I have ever had. I just give it, the query. So a very amazing thing. Okay, let me just test this one. So let me, run it. So you get different triggers. So you can trigger these workflows in this tool differently. You can use chat, you can schedule them, you can just click a button. And then it starts working. So what it did here, it's used this plugin for Jira, which got all of the issues that I had in this month. And then it applied a set of transformations to them. Basically, these two. Okay, I'm afraid of clicking this one because Jira returns a lot of data, like too much data. Like when I was doing this, I was like, I'm going to not finish this presentation if I have to manually pick out each field from Jira. And then I clicked here on, okay, I wanted to code something for it, but it's got this AI transform option. So basically what it did was I told it, there's a lot of fields that were null, empty, or empty arrays. I just told it, hey, can you remove all of that? And I clicked this generate code button. And it wrote me a function that, cleared out the response. I'm like, okay, this is good. Now I have, the data is cleaner, but I don't need all of that data. So I told it, okay, transform everything into very simple objects. I just need the summary of each ticket, its description, what is priority, is it resolved, and give me the IDs. I clicked generate code. It did this. I mean, I could have done this, but I don't want to. So it outputted all of those out. But I mean, in Jira, of course, like the summary, that's just the start of the bug. The comments, that's where the real meat is. That's where the solution is. So it's got another plugin which gets you all of the comments on all of the issues. So I literally just dragged and dropped that over here. I told it, okay, find this issue keys, and it queried each one of those. So 13 bugs, 25 comments on them. I had to do a little bit of, editing just to get the IDs of like bug and like the comment. So the comment doesn't tell you like where is its parent like ticket, but it does have a link to the parent. So I had to like remove something there. Just had to split a string, and then I just merged those into a different dictionary, and then came time for the AI. So it's got different. To use the mouse. So it's got AI integrated into it. Now, by that, I mean it's got like these common agent workflows already there. So I used a summarization chain. So basically, I passed in each issue it had and the comments for each issue and told it, hey, like summarize this, shorten this, I need it for a report. So what it did here, it went through each of the issues, and if I click here, I can actually see the prompts it uses. So it basically tells the LLM, write a concise summary of the following, and it pastes the entire issue here. And that's what gets returned. This wasn't enough because I want it to be just one sentence. So I told it, hey, write a short overall summary. And it's like, there are 29 items, 10 are blocked, 19 need to be addressed, blah, blah, blah. So now I don't have to be the one who's reading all of these Jira tickets. It gives me a response. Does it work well? I really don't know. Actually, it doesn't. So what happened was I was testing this. I'll get into that some more. So, I mean, this took a total of maybe 1 hour to plug and play everything. But I ran into the same issue we ran in with, the big project we were doing with PA Summit, and that is the LLM. It really requires good prompt, and you really have to be specific with the data you're sending it, and you have to be specific with what you ask it, because it keeps on giving me a different number for how many issues are blocked. Why? I don't know. Maybe the summarization chain isn't like picking up like whether an issue is blocked or I merged the data somewhere back. But either way, these results were not deterministic. If it changes each time, I really cannot trust it that much. But that is a different issue because those like when ChatGPT was first released, those like I call them buzzword jockeys. The guys who are really into Bitcoin, then really into NFTs, are now really into AI. They were all selling these prompt templates, because they were saying, "Hey, prompt engineering, that is the new future. You're going to get a job as a prompt engineer." I mean, it's bullshit, of course, but you actually need to give the LLM a good prompt for it to give you a good result. Garbage goes in, garbage goes out. So you're not really going to pass garbage in if you want some actual useful results. But I'm not here to talk about LLMs. I'm to talk about this tool what I really found is this is definitely the easiest way for anybody to get into AI, to get into using agents as well. Now, I mean, case in point, okay, I'm not going to save this one. So we can, yeah, just leave without saving. I mean, we can create a chatbot in 30 seconds. So how do we do that? Okay, we're not going to trigger it with this. The first step is, I mean, it's a chatbot. So the trigger would be chat something. Okay, there's a chat trigger. Okay, we're not going to make it publicly accessible. So let's go back here. And what we do then? Agent. There's an AI agent. Okay, what do we want for an agent? Well, what is an agent? It's an LLM that is given some tools. Okay, which LLM do we want to use? It's giving me, okay, you can use Azure instance of OpenAI as well, Grok, Mistral, but I'm going to use the OpenAI chat model because that's the only one that I gave the API key for. And you can choose which one are we going to use. Okay, 4 minis, okay. Let me go back here. Now, agents have memory, so all of the prompts need to get saved somewhere. You can use Postgres or Redis, but the easiest way is to just use the memory on the machine that this is running on, so Windows buffer memory. You can do some technical adjustments such as the context window length, that's how many of these interactions get sent to the LLM as part of the prompt, and you can add it to tools. So, I mean, it doesn't have a lot of tools, granted, but it's got nice ones, you can give it a calculator, you can give it access to Wikipedia. I give it access to Google Search because I also added this SERP API, so it's just an API key for Google. Okay, that's what you're going to use. And that's it. Now we have a chatbot. So want to chat with it. So
question of life and
when is Imer presenting at EBSL at AP Lab? It might find out. Let's see. Let's see how does it go. I couldn't find, however, it appears there may be an upcoming event. If you have more details, okay. What did it do here? So it saves everything it does, so you can debug the prompts. And I'm going to. Okay, this is a bit more useful. So first thing it did, it saved this here prompt. This is difficult for me to watch as well. Okay, you are a helpful assistant and you need to figure out when is Imer presenting at this API lab. So it sent this to the OpenAI chat model, which called search API. And the response it got was apply for a 12-week training program. Now, why did it get this response? Because I'm using a free version of the search API. It only gets one result. And it got the first result, which was the commercial for the AP lab. So, Anala, you're doing some really good SEO. Good job. Then it gave this back to the ChatGPT tool. Apply for 12 weeks.
You're a helpful assistant. Is that
no, that's the prompt. So this is an agent, and you need to tell it, what it is. Are you? I mean, you can make specific agents. For example, you can give it a role like, hey, you're a talent acquisition manager. Yeah,
And it's like a compliment. Oh, you're a helpful assistant.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Will it choose to be an evil assistant? But
you have to say please.
Yeah, and next thing it did, it asked for the ABSL AP Lab event schedule in 2023. Why? I already mentioned previously because it's limited in its knowledge to April or September of 2023. So it doesn't know it's 2024. So what happened here is I gave it a bad prompt and it got a bad result. So how can we make the prompt better? Is Imer Muhovic giving a ABSL talk in 2024? Let's try this. Yes, May 23. Now, this did happen, but it didn't, I mean, it technically gave us a response. I asked it for 2024. I didn't ask it for anything upcoming. I didn't ask it is something in September. But exactly. But wait. Okay, this keeps on running away from me. Now we can add different tools to it, but I think the best use case in this, I mean, I think the number one use case people are using these chat models right now is chatting with documents. And NA10 makes this ridiculously simple. You would just need to give it a vector database, load up your documents there, and you can like talk to your documentation. How to do that? No idea. However, if you click here on templates, now this entire workflow, it's defined in JSON, and they have a really active community that's sharing these workflow templates with each other. And well, let's look. Document chat, maybe. Build a financial documents assistant. Yeah, break down documents into study notes. I'll try this one. I'm not studying for any exams right now, but I just, click use workflow, import it into my cloud workspace. Okay, what do I need? I need Mistral Crowd, I need Quadroot Vector Store. I don't have either right now, so I'm not going to do that at the moment, but it's generally a very simple process of just, giving it your API keys for these different cloud services. Now, right now I'm using a cloud instance of it. It gives you like a 2-week free trial, but this is, it's like a fair code license. So you can host it yourself using Docker. You don't have to use cloud versions of all of these things. You can like host everything yourself and just, connect it. It accepts JavaScript functions, so you can like write your own nodes that do stuff. It's I've seen a couple of people who are doing these. Wait, I think I have one of these set up. AI agent chat. Okay. It's already got like a couple of website scrapers already built in. So if you are in the business of like preparing reports from different websites, you can like combine different workflows that scrape different websites and get reports from there. So it's, ridiculously simple to use, but there's always drawbacks. So I'm going to go back to this presentation, because I'm not selling anything here, so I need to talk about some risks. And biggest one with all of these tools is you get locked into a vendor. So in this case, N8N is a really great tool to explore something, but it automatically locks you into them, and it locks you into LangChain, which is problematic because everything's moving really fast right now. When we started doing our project for the BA Summit, we were using LangChain 0.1. By the time we finished the project, LangChain 0.2 came out, and everything was completely different. Like RAGs are now the thing you have to use, don't use the chains. And that's kind of problematic because you get stuck on this one framework now. LangChain is amazing. It's great for testing, great for playing around, but for production use, I know a lot of people, a lot of startups in this space end up going over to semantic kernel. I think Octomind, it's like this startup that they do testing. You give them a link to a website, they will write the test, they will write the playwright scripts, they will do the testing. It's all like agents running in it. I don't like the concept of using AI to do testing, and the entire point is that things should be testable from the start. It's TDD is a mindset. It's not like there's something to cross off a list, but that's neat. The UI is great, but it can get slow with a lot of data. when I was testing this, I only get like 10 results from Jira, 13 right now, 3 bugs a day, but it gets really slow because it's a lot of data in it and there's a lot of UI elements. So it's not really fast thing for working with a lot of data, but it's got really great plugins for manipulating data, for editing stuff. It's makes it really easy to parse the data. Scaling, like when you deploy this, it's comme ci, comme ça, not really sure. Like deploying it is not that hard, but you don't really get the same options you would if you were doing this yourself and if you were in charge of your own infrastructure, because again, this is just a UI tool that's put in front of LangChain. And there's a limited scope of actions, and there I mainly mean the AI tools. Now, we wrote like 10 AI tools in a week when we were building our agent, but this has got like 10 AI tools in total. You can write new ones, but it's not as straightforward. So overall, you can do a lot of stuff using this no-code tool. As I mentioned, there's people building startups using NA10, using these AI workflows. But it's not optimal. But again, it's really good for experimentation. And there's an old saying, fortunately now it's old, like while you're picking your front-end framework, somebody's building your startup in PHP. So in this case, I think N8N was really something that can enable you to test out an idea before committing to doing it properly. Okay, so that's everything I've got for this. If anybody has any questions, I will still be standing here in